I'm Cassie Martin with the University of Washington Haring Center for Inclusive Education, representing the Inclusionary Practices Demonstration Sites Project, part of the statewide OSPI Inclusionary Practices Professional Development Project. I'm coming to you today from McMicken Heights Elementary, one of our IPP demonstration sites in Highline School District. December 6th through 12th is Inclusive Schools Week, and this year's Inclusive School Week's theme is Rebuilding Our Community Together, a theme that cannot be realized without providing inclusive services for each and every student. At the core of inclusive service delivery is making sure the team is thinking about and considering special education services as just that, as services, not as a place. This framing allows school communities to reconsider the culture of the school and how to make general education classrooms places for all students. There is a saying, if you build it, they will come. If separate, segregated classrooms are created, people will use them. If instead, we provide universal supports for all students in general education, provide flexible places across the school that are open to everyone, and general classrooms that allow for all students, including students with disabilities, to engage in learning that includes that productive struggle, it not only helps all students, it also builds teacher capacity and efficiency, increases collaboration, and maximizes teacher efficacy. And these benefits extend to families and to the community. This is why when we talk about flexible services and about the delivery of special education services, we remember that instruction, scaffolds, and supports for learning don't happen during specified therapeutic times or only when a student is scheduled to receive special education minutes. These priorities are addressed by a variety of educators throughout the school day and have relevance in all areas of a student's day, both in and outside of school. As we rebuild our community, we need to take into account how distance learning has allowed us unique opportunities to co-design education activities with families and experience the benefits of collaboration, teaming, and taking a more expansive approach to student engagement. Things teams want to consider when discussing inclusive services includes the setup and accessibility features of a classroom and of a school, the universal instructional accommodations that allow for meaningful learning in classroom and school activities, the necessary social, behavioral, and communication supports that guarantees engagement in all school activities, and a commitment to collaborative structures and supports that take into account the team's strengths and make sure all resources are being used to their greatest potential. And finally, how these inclusive practices and supports build the capacity of school staff, families, and peers, in addition to increasing that student learning and engagement. As you go through the process of discussing inclusive service delivery, and as you reflect on the process, and as you revisit the process, these are some questions to ask. Will the student experience membership? Will the student be actively engaged or actively participating in school? Will the student be learning grade level general education curriculum? If the answer to any of these questions is no, more discussion is needed. If the answer is yes to these questions, engage in discussions about what worked well and takeaways to carry over to other work you're doing to build on what specifically happened, what moves and decisions were made to provide those inclusive services. During Inclusive Schools Week, and as we collaborate to determine the best ways to rebuild our communities together, I encourage you to take this opportunity to imagine and plan for how you can work with your district or school to provide inclusive services so that students and families don't just have access or experiences in one part of their school, but instead see the whole school as a place for learning and community. By creating environments, systems, and structures that are inclusive, schools open up new and better pathways to engagement and allow for all students and families and educators to experience membership, belonging, and to be active participants in learning.